Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Friday, the 22nd of September. So, looking at the euro dollar first, and well, we traded it yesterday. We went for the long side. It was a bit of hidden divergence. There was a couple of other factors. The very beginning of the Asian session had put us back on track for an upside move towards its daily pivot, which it duly did. We're now looking at it, well, I'm looking at it thinking, well, there could be a continuation. Now, yesterday in a trading room, I was talking about the original trend before the news came out. Quite often when we get some news coming out, we'll get the action and we'll almost immediately afterwards, it reacts and gets back into the trend. Now, a bit bigger news. There is, to me, the possibility it could still get back into that where that original trend was going. Markets tend to do this over a period of time. It may just take a bit of time, may take into a week or so to get into that properly, but I've just left that on as a sort of a bit of a guidance really to see how it does. For now though, it's well, as I said, it's erring more bullish. Now there is a short-term catch to that, is that we probably need to come back. There's a daily pivot underneath us, which is quite a draw. Also 60-21s, it's a while since they've been hit, so I'm just watching this morning. Now the chances are slightly reduced it coming right back to the pivot. It's hit the R1, it's pushed up already quite a way, so it's reduced its potential, but still looking at that. I'd really like to wait and see this morning, see if it retraces some more to give possible entries. So that's really what I'm looking for. So really looking for some bearishness initially, followed by an upward move. But if the bearishness doesn't materialize, it will leave without me, I'm afraid. Cable, pound dollar. Now the pound's recovered pretty much all of its losses from the news there. If we come down the time frames here, and really sort of shows here, in fact we were only just running back up to those sort of levels now pre-news, and the news came out, pipped us up, and then gave a bit of divergence, and it did leave a daily divergence there that was sat in the markets. But this is still quite a strong move that's in with the pound, and perhaps people have been a bit optimistic about Theresa May's speech today. The Remainers would certainly be wanting her to offer lots of cash up, and well, we'll see what happens, but that will be the more smoother transition in their book, that we just pay out for nothing. But anyway, I'm not going to get on my health there. But regardless, we got the daily pivot below us. And that may in itself draw things down. So just as the euro is there, this hasn't pushed quite so high up. It's got the potential to get back towards the 60-21s if nothing else. And I'll be looking, if it pulls back to that, for reaction. If it gives a decent reaction or jump on board, and may try and ride it back up towards the R1 sort of territory. But Prime Minister May speaking at some point now. I haven't got the time on here. I will see if I can find the exact time of the speech, but she is due to speak in Italy, in Florence today. So that will be time dependent on her speech. Right, now I'll see if I can type it on at the bottom if I can find it. So that's the pound. Let's have a look at dollar yen. Dollar yen's done the opposite in a sense. It carried on pushing up, softening yesterday, having a bit of a retrace at the moment. I'm erring to having more bullish thoughts on this, but perhaps it's just got a bit overbought for a while and wants a bit more of a recovery. But I'm erring more on the yen towards the bullish side. However, today isn't an easy one for me to trade. It's already gone through the daily pivot S1 and S2. It's a possibility you could roll back towards its S3 the way it's running at the moment. If the other markets start pushing up, then I wouldn't be too surprised if we see a correction here, coming back towards just where we were sitting again pre-news there. Okay, that's the dollar yen. Aussie dollar, and this is a weird one because it hasn't recovered at all, and it doesn't look like it wanted to recover. In fact, it has recovered, beg your pardon. Oh, you see, sorry, it hasn't recovered on a daily perspective. Sorry, looking at a 60-minute chart for a minute. I was seeing it pushing up there. Now, what we've ended up here is a bit of a pivot swing on the dailies here with lower high, and it's a bit of a bearish sort of view that I've got on this. Not particularly wanting to trade it, but it's erring towards the bearish side. The way we continued selling off following the news, it just rolled over. It's not particularly great news, I guess, in Australia, and it's just it's softened on the basis of that. And well, we got the chance of running up towards the daily pivot this morning or today at some point, but not that convincing. Although there is there is a divergence there at the lows there, which runs through a couple of the indicators to show you a similar divergence. So maybe that will help its case back towards the daily pivot, but aside of that, as I say, I err towards the bearish side and would rather be on the bearish side of that mostly at the moment with this price action. Canadian dollar then, oil's been pushing up. It's sitting around the $50 mark sort of thing, and it's helped in a sense, but it's not really helped the Canadian dollar as such. We've seen very little in the way of recovery here. It started to pick back on its recovery. It was sloping down, although the overall trend prior to the news was pushing to the upside anyway. So the easiest route was probably to the upside. It's following its trend effectively. It did spike down early part of the news, then flew. It's easing its way back to that sort of those pre-news time frames, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see it come back there. As I said, these markets, they tend to recover if it's not anything beyond what's expected, and we're really basically where people were expecting. With the dollar, that is. There is a pushback potential this morning back up to the daily pivot at the moment, which may just give a platform for a reversal back to the south side, downside. Right, that's it for me. So news-wise today, this morning, 8:30, we've got some French and German manufacturing PMIs and manufacturing services PMI, I should say, respectively. That's 8 and 8:30. We've got Draghi speaking at 9 o'clock, which is always a worry. Due to speak at Trinity College in Dublin. Not too sure what he's talking about there, but he's due to talk, and that's always, a concern because he could move the markets quite quickly. So I'd be very wary of whatever he says. At 1:30, we've got inflation data for Canada. So and core retail sales there. That may create some volatility with the Canadian dollar later. So there's a few other numbers coming out for Canada all at 1:30, so there's enough to be creating some volatility, as I say. Not forgetting Theresa May speaking. I'll try and find the time of that speech if I can, and type it on the bottom of the update here. Okay, have a great one. Bye for now.